Hello, good morning everybody. I hope you can see my screen and also hear my voice clearly. So today is 28th of April 2020. We'll start off with the chart on my screen. This is GBP USD. Yesterday we mentioned that this was a buy. From the weekly chart we had our support here, support around this point. We had a support here, support. This is our weekly chart around 1.21611. The same support was used previously. Then it was used here. We had a support here. Then there's this false break to the last side. Then the price came back up and then closed above the same place where we were buying from previously. So if you're on this chart today, you actually are supposed to be looking for a sell up to this support. So expect price to come back up to this point here, then bounce off from that point to the upper side, maybe up to this resistance. So ideally, whatever is happening now, the move which we are seeing to the upper side is actually just some correction. It should push price up to the previous week's opening price, which is here around this level here. The price needs to come back up to 1.25025. Then you pick a sell from that point, have your stop loss above this level 1.26760, and then the take profit needs to be at 1.21611. So that's a sell. The move you're seeing to the upper side should take price only up to this point where we look for a sell, the stop loss, and a take profit. So alternatively, if you don't sell it there, if you don't pick a sell from that point, you can wait for price to come back down up to this point so that you pick a sell. So we'll pick a sell, expecting that sell to take price up to this support. So we move forward to our next symbol, USDJPY, and this is downwards. There's a gap. We have this one here, a support. We have a support, and then the same place is currently being used as a support here. So as long as the price does not clearly descend below that level, as long as the price does not go below this point, this will give us a good place to pick a buy from. So this is like some shape. If we check a lesser time frame, you'll be able to see that it forms like a shape. We have that support there, and then we have this here. So this is like some triangular formation. We had a support here, a support. If you check clearly, you can see that this is a very good support. From this point, we had that support there. We had a support on that instance. We had a support there, and we had a resistance previously. This is also a resistance here, and then we have this as a resistance. So what should happen is the price needs to go below this point, retrace back, and then continue to the lower side, most probably up to this point, which means we want a breakout below and then a correction, so that we proceed to the lower side up to the next level, which is this one. So this is a good place you want to sell from. If the price goes below this point, that should give us the correct place where we want to pick a sell from. As it is now, we are waiting for a buy as long as the price does not go below 107.22. If it doesn't break below, then that may mean we are looking for a buy. These are the only two possible scenarios. The price may fail to go below that support and then continue to the upper side, or it may break below that support and then continue to the lower side up to the next level, which is this one. So we'll move forward. Let's see what we have on Euro USD. Trend line that runs all the way from this point heading to the upper side, this one here. So with this, we had a support previously. We had a support there. We had a support here. We had a support here. We had a support. There's a break below. And then we had a resistance. We had a resistance here. So basically, we're just waiting for price to come back up to this point. We're waiting for price to get back up to this level here, so that we are able to pick a sell from that point, expecting that sell to take price towards the next level, which is this one here. So if you're on this chart now, you're supposed to look for a sell when the price gets to this point. That should be the correct place to sell it from. So technically, we just want price to continue up to this point where we'll pick a sell. We want that sell to take price up to the first level, which is this one here. So we'll move forward. Let's move forward to our next symbol. We'll look at Brent oil. This is perfectly in line with what we said previously. If you can remember, we had a sell. We were looking for a sell when the price pulled back to this point. This was our sell place here. We had some support here. We had a support which was broken. Then the price came back. This was last week. So we wanted price to come back up to the same point this week. This something like this. The price was supposed to move back up to this point before continuing to the lower side. This is what we want to happen. So should price get back to this point, that will give us a good place to pick a sell from up to this support. So we had a support previously, a support. There's a break below. There's the first retracement. If you didn't sell it here, you still have the chance to sell it when the price comes back the second time. So we'll sell it with our take profit around 20.14. Let's move to the next symbol. We have SP500. This is upwards. We've seen price continue to the upper side. We are currently approaching a resistance around this level here. So should price go a bit above this zone, the one which I'm currently drawing, this resistance, then that will mean you are continuing to the upper side. If the price goes above this resistance, then that will give us a good place to pick a buy from. So as it is now, simply wait for a clear breakout above, and then a retracement, then a continuation to the upper side up to the next level, which is this one. So this should be the correct place to pick a buy from. So we're going to move forward. Let's see what we have on the next symbol. We'll look at gold. That is silver. Gold is moving to the left side. We do have some shape which is currently being formed. Converging wedge formation. We have this here, and then we also have the line from the bottom, this one. This means if the price goes above or below any of these lines, we are continuing in that direction. So as it is now, we have a support here, we have a support, and we also have support around this level. Then we have a resistance here, a resistance here, have a resistance there. So the price needs to bounce off perfectly up from this point, head straight to the upper side, retrace back, then continue to the upper side. This is what could happen if the price ascends above this level, the upper trend line. That will mean you are continuing to the upper side. But if it goes below the lower one, then that will mean we are continuing to the lower side. So something like this is slightly. Which means we are waiting for a sell here. A break above, a retracement, then you continue upwards. A break below, a retracement, then you continue downwards. So that should be the end of the chart analysis. Let's now look at the strength. So far today we have Australian dollar, which is the strongest symbol. As I'm speaking now, this is the strongest, the Australian dollar. and then we have the British pound being the second strongest, and then we have the US dollar, the weakest, then the most weakest is Swiss franc. So if you're trading today, trade a combination of either the Australian dollar and the US dollar, or Australian dollar and the Swiss franc, or the British pound and the US dollar, or the British pound and the Swiss franc. So that's a good combination. If the price, like if you see a buy on a combination that has these two, then that will be the best place to trade from. So we have Euro USD. According to the trend indicators, the moving averages, these are uptrend. This is downtrend. Euro USD, we are heading downwards. We have Euro JPY, we are heading downwards, therefore we look for a sell. Euro GBP, we are heading downwards. Euro CAD, we are heading downwards. Then Euro AUD, we are heading to the lower side. We have Euro CHF, we are upwards. We have GBP USD, we are upwards. We have GBP CHF, we are upwards. We have Australian dollar Japanese yen, Australian dollar US dollar, Australian dollar Canadian dollar, Australian dollar Swiss franc. We also have Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, all of them are upwards. Then we have US dollar Swiss franc, upwards. Canadian dollar Swiss franc, upwards. Then we have Swiss franc Japanese yen, which is downwards. So we are only trading on those symbols that have very good trends. We are only trading those symbols that have very good trends. So if you have a chart which there's a clear trend, that's the only chart where we are going to trade that. So thank you very much. We meet again tomorrow at the same. See you. Bye.